Shalom. And you know very well by now that shalom means hello, and it also means peace. And may the peace that passes all understanding keep your hearts and minds in Messiah Yeshua. I am Rabbi Dr. Rosenfarb, Joseph Rosenfarb of Beth Messiah Synagogue of Tidewater here in Norfolk. Our address is 7130 Granby Street, Norfolk, Virginia 23505. Our telephone number is 757-423-3440. We also have a website, and we encourage you to take a look at the website if you'd like to leave some feedback or have some questions. We would love to answer those in future series for you. Tonight, of course, we are celebrating Purim, this beautiful festival surrounding the story of the book of Esther. And the book of Esther comes in a time of the Persian domination of the world under King Xerxes, and is this beautiful story of how this little girl Hadassah, which means myrtle, comes into the picture at first very passive, not really moving the action of the story along. Her Mordecai, her uncle, is moving the story along, the king is moving the story along, Haman is moving the story along, and so forth and so on. And she comes into this picture where there's a very ambitious Haman who is angry that one Mordecai has not bowed to him out of respect, and he initiates a plan to destroy the Jewish people. But this plan is thwarted as Esther comes into the play prominently and begins to motivate this and that. We see a turn of events where the king actually exalts Mordecai. Esther is the queen, favored by the king, and demotes Haman so low that, in fact, Haman is killed. And the Jewish people have this great, great, great festival, joy throughout the land and in the capital of Susa. And Esther then initiates a holiday forever after called Purim. Purim comes from the word pur, lot, Purim, lots. The lots were drawn, and they were drawn against Haman. It's interesting that the word of the name of God is not mentioned throughout the whole story, but it is so clear, both from literary devices within the text and within the context of how God does things, that God is the one moving the story forward, and he culminates it, whereas in the first part of the book it looks like the Jewish people are doomed, but God turns it around for the salvation of the Jewish people. And Mordecai and Esther are exalted in the land and become the most prominent part of the entire story. At the end of the book, we see that people are giving gifts to one another, sending foods to one another. And so part of the custom of Purim is to give gifts to one another, to send food to one another, to give to the poor at this time. Typically, we would eat something called Haman's hat, Hamtashen. It's pastry made out of some fruit, sometimes prunes, sometimes apple preserves, and so forth and so on. And it denotes Haman's hat. Sometimes Haman's pockets is what it's translated as. And it's a marvelous time where we remember that God is always behind the scenes. No matter how dark things look, it is God that motivates history. It is God that interjects himself into the plans of men and brings his own plan around. Thank God. We will see you next time, and may God richly bless you in this season. Shalom.